We all like to think about gaming as a pristine, fun hobby that we just engage in and never think about anything else, but it has its fair share of controversy. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, the top 10 PS4 and Xbox One controversies. Number 10, a BBC Watchdog report turned up the idea that Sony was kicking people off for getting refunds for fraudulent purchases made with their consoles. Somebody logged into your account and bought something without your permission. Either you could call Sony and have that money refunded back into your PlayStation wallet, or you could call your bank, get that money refunded into your real wallet, and then get kicked off PSN. Now, I don't know about you, but if I don't buy a PlayStation game, it's usually because I don't have the money to buy a PlayStation game. So if something takes money out of my account to buy a PlayStation game I have not decided to buy at this time, I don't want that money back in my PSN wallet. I want it back in my bank account. Thanks. But apparently that can get you banned from PlayStation. Sony made a show of acknowledging this happened, but then a year later it was revealed that it was still going on. It's still a problem years later. Seriously. Number 9, a controversy rose up after some reports of Skype being used to wiretap people after Microsoft said, no, Skype can't do that. That's not something Skype can do. They said it was technically impossible because of the peer-to-peer technology Skype employs, and a report in The Guardian said, guess what? That's exactly what they're doing. They're giving the government access to Skype video and audio calls. So naturally, when the Kinect, a camera that's always on in your living room, listening for your voice commands, or at least was back at the time. I don't know if people still use those. A lot of people were, rightfully suspicious. Now, Microsoft said, we aren't using Kinect to spy on anybody, you don't have to worry about it, but more than a couple of people debunked it, though, and Microsoft said that if the NSA tried to do that, they'd take them to court. And I don't really think there's been any controversy since, but I remember that. That was a big one. Number 8, remember when they announced the Xbox One? Yeah, with the always-on requirements and the DRM, online only, and attempts to limit the sales of used games, because that seems like a popular way of getting your new console implemented. Just blatantly tell the consumer that you don't like them. Yeah, Microsoft had to backpedal on that hard, and they really didn't recover from it. Like, Xbox One has been consistently behind PlayStation 4, and I think it's really in part due to the head start Microsoft gave Sony in doing this. I mean, there's other factors, but this really tainted the Xbox One for a lot of people. Number 7, for whatever reason, PlayStation 4 decided they were gonna start promoting some really garbage-looking games. I mean, there's a few weird ones, but the real standout was Life of Black Tiger, which we don't need to get into detail on Life of Black Tiger. Life of Black Tiger is a bad free mobile game that costs money on PlayStation 4, where you play, guess what? I'm gonna give you a moment, but not for any good reason, because you guessed it already. It's a black tiger. You play as a black tiger. Like, the actual PlayStation account put up a trailer of this garbage game with that thumbnail with the PlayStation logo up in the left corner, like something that deserves it. I don't know how that happened. Also, the game was like stealing music from anime. It's really weird. Number 6, there was a big VR boom, and Microsoft and Sony both announced VR headsets. Microsoft didn't deliver theirs. Now, there are a lot of people who are really into VR, and I don't want to crap on them, because honestly, there's some pretty cool VR games, but it's not there yet. Not as a full-blown VR is the future, we now need to move to VR platform. And Microsoft recognized this, but PlayStation VR has actually done alright. Not great, not amazing for sure. Alright though. And it's generated a lot of support from fans. Support that Microsoft probably would have had, and there was a little bit of a backlash over. I mean, it obviously didn't sink Microsoft or anything, but nobody likes it when you announce something, act super excited about it, say that you've got the future in your hands and all that, and then you don't talk about it for years and totally stop doing it. Number 5, Sony showed off some trailers for some new games in 2017, particularly The Last of Us Part 2 and Detroit Become Human, that showed some pretty graphic, let's say, domestic violence. And it kicked up a bit of a controversy because, well, domestic abuse for good reasons isn't popular. Keeping that in mind, Jim Ryan, the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe, defended the games, saying, "These are not games for children, these are games for adults, and depictions of things isn't necessarily an endorsement of it, especially when, more often than not, the consequences of those actions are often incredibly clear." I mean, Anything that happened in these trailers is most certainly going to have its comeuppance delivered upon. So it is maybe a little bit complex of a situation, and maybe some people do have a point about domestic violence in games as a marketing tool, on account you do not see the comeuppance in the trailer. But at the same time, a lot of people do sort of understand that context, so there's nuance. Not something that anybody has any time to go through. This is the internet, there's no nuance here. Number 4, remember how Sony released that garbage? Well, it wasn't just that game that was garbage that got onto the PSN store. There were other ones too, ones that suffered different fates though, at least immediate fates. A game that advertised it had the easiest PS4 Platinum trophy, a trophy that could be gotten in 20 minutes with a game cost of 98 cents, and was actually just a marketing tool for a Facebook page that sells PS4 themes. I mean, put a Platinum trophy onto your profile. That is until Sony very quickly removed it, which makes sense. Seems weird, although maybe smart marketing on their part if it weren't actually something they would take down. I don't know. It's clever one way or the other. Still, nobody really liked that. Number 3, Crackdown 3. You know what controversy I'm talking about, right? You know how it's been delayed year after year after year, and every single year I say the same thing. I want that game. I want to destroy some cities, and I want them not to delay it again, and then they delay it again. Just like they did this year, as if none of us expected it. Yep, in June, they're like, we're delaying it. Not liking what I'm hearing here. Come on, just release this damn game. If it's a disappointment, at least it'll be a disappointment that I can get over. Number 2, back in 2016, Microsoft just killed off Fable. Nobody was happy with it either. Although Fable was far more ambitious than Fable ever actually genuinely became. One thing that was not ambitious was Fable Legends. In fact, no one at Lionhead wanted to work on the game, despite $75 million having been spent on it. Everybody at Lionhead just wanted to make Fable 4, and I'm pretty sure that's what all the fans wanted as well. It was again another move just basically that was bad in every way, and everyone is mad about it still. I'm still mad about it. I want Fable 4. And finally, number 1, Crossplay. Oh boy. This one doesn't even have time enough to sum up the history of. Let's just say you still can't play Fortnite with people on Xbox One and Nintendo Switch if you have a PlayStation 4. I mean, if you have literally any other platform you can, but not if you have PlayStation 4. Sony's chief executive, Kenichiro Yoshida, had the following to say. On cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that the PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with PlayStation 4, is the best experience for users, and that's our belief. I just, I would be even less annoyed by it if it didn't bind your Fortnite account to PlayStation. But it does, and yet they're just like, you know what, whatever. No, that's not how this works. What controversy has gotten you particularly hyped in the gaming world? Leave us a comment, let us know, and if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now would be a good time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time, right here on Game Ranks.